Sir is the principal of IGMC Shimla. Sir is a surgeon and a specialty is CTVS surgery. Sir is the ex-professor in HOD, CTVS, IGMC Shimla, and the ex-principal, SLBS Government Medical College, Mandi. Sir, thank you so much for agreeing to jointly organize this webinar, sir. And I welcome you for the delivery of the keynote address today at this national webinar, sir. Welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I bring greetings to all of you from Indira Gandhi Medical College, Shimla. And I would like to congratulate the organizers for bringing into focus this disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, in the times of COVID. Most of the energy and the focus of the medical fraternity is on COVID. And at such a time to think about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which the results of which may not be visible immediately, but if we act on time, we should be having results which will be beneficial to the population at large in the country. So as a surgeon, what I feel is that many a times I come across a ultrasound report which says the patient is having fatty liver. But somehow my focus is on the problem for which I had sent the patient to the ultrasonologist for a checkup, and I generally tend to ignore this term of fatty liver. And I won't be surprised if most of the general practitioners and surgeons and orthopedicians don't care a damn about fatty liver. But once I was told that I have to speak on this topic, I just went through the literature and I found that I have been missing out on something which is very important. So as the term non-alcoholic fatty liver disease indicates, there is accumulation of fat in the liver, and this pathological change leads to long-term implications for the liver and all the systems at large. So keeping this in mind, June 10th is observed as the International NASH Day, and it is, apart from that, the importance of this disease has been highlighted that on 22nd June of this year, it was included in the list of non-communicable diseases and was included in the national program for the management of these diseases. So just a brief presentation on fatty liver. I think the earlier speakers have also highlighted this. So it is a systemic, multifactorial, has multifactorial pathogenesis, and it's an inflammatory disorder that affects the liver. It just starts as a benign process of accumulation of some amount of fat in the cells. Normally, the liver does not have much fat, but due to a number of reasons, number of pathological factors, there is accumulation of fat in the liver, which leads to inflammation and then fibrosis, and the disease goes on progressing over the years. So broadly, there are two terms, that is NAFLD and NAFLD with cirrhosis. So these are just the same process, but to a different extent, which is progressing. It starts as a fatty liver and then progresses on to NASH, and then it can further progress with fibrosis and cirrhosis, and ultimately may culminate in hepatocellular carcinoma. Next. So this is not a disease which is confined to the subcontinent or to our country, but this is a worldwide disease and is prevalent throughout the world, with a incidence of around about 24% of the population, which is quite large. So it is mostly seen, the incidence is quite high in South America, in the Middle East, in the United States of America, and for some reason, it is only about 14% of the population in Africa is affected. So there appears to be some genetic predisposition. And over the recent years, there has been a surge in the number of patients of this suffering from this disease, and in the population, the incidence from in 2005, it was around about 15%, has now gone up to 25% in 2010, and I am sure it must have increased after that also. Next. So this is just a diagrammatic representation of the prevalence of the disease in different parts of the world. And from the red the zones, you can see that India falls in the red zone, and the incidence of this in various studies has been documented from 9 to 15% of the population, which is quite large. Next. So as far as the pathogenesis of this disease is concerned, there are a number of, basically the etiology is not exactly known, but there are a number of predisposing factors which result in increase in fat in the liver cells. So this is basically the eating habits. If we are eating too much of high fat, there is dyslipidemia, there is high cholesterol intake and high fructose intakes. So these are the factors, the dietary factors which can result in NAFLD. And apart from this, there is some genetic disposition which results in a fatty liver. Next. So this is a dynamic disease. This is which needs to be understood that being a dynamic disease, it moves both ways. It can progress also and it can regress also. So if we act on time, we can reverse the process, the inflammatory process which has set in. But there's a cutoff point after which this regression will not be taking place. So we have to act on time, at as early as possible. So once we there is a indication or a diagnosis, because the disease is by and large in the early stages, it is asymptomatic. It is only after it has reached the irreversible stage that the symptoms start to develop, and by that time it's too late. So in majority of the patients, say around about 80% of the patients, the disease progresses very slowly. However, there are about 20% of the patients in whom the disease is going to progress, and this 20%, keeping in view the number of people affected in the population, becomes quite a large number. So in the coming years, we may be having an epidemic sort of a situation where the number of patients with NASH and beyond may be quite large. So we have to focus our energies on, number one, to detect the disease early, and then we have to lifestyle modification has to take place so that the disease does not progress and rather it regresses. So the crux of the whole thing is that we have to make an early diagnosis and act fast. And like other diseases, lifestyle diseases, diabetes mellitus is a high risk factor for the progression of this disease. Next. So as far as treatment is concerned, we have a few options, but the simplest and the safest option is lifestyle modification. And lifestyle modification is similar to that what we exercise in cases of diabetes, hypertension, coronary artery disease. So you have to have a regulated diet and exercise. So if we modify our dietary habits, and we do regular exercises, we will prevent this disease. And as you say, prevention is better than cure. And so that stands good for this disease also. There are other therapeutic modalities, but they carry a high risk and are cause a lot of morbidity. Next. So with these words, what I would like to highlight at this stage is that early detection and intervention is very important for the prevention and management of the disease in the long term. Thank you.